Another beautiful, clear, cool night as another sellout crowd starts to gather at AT&T Park as the Mets try and get even in this 4-game series against the Giants after taking a 10-7 defeat last night. The start of tonight's game will be delayed a little bit. They're having a 90th birthday celebration for the great Tony Bennett. So the first pitch will come at 10:25 p.m. Eastern Time. On the mound for the Mets with Steven Matz's shoulder keeping him from the start tonight. Seth Lugo gets his first major league start. Lugo struggled as a starter in AAA. He has thrived as a reliever in the big leagues. We'll see how he fares and how deep he can go. Johnny Cueto was the National League's All-Star starting pitcher, but Cueto has not won since the All-Star break. That's the matchup tonight as the Mets try to get even in this series. Now, we'll be back in just a few moments with all the action. Right now, let's send it back to the studio to Gary Apple and Jim Duquette.
Of baseball.
At AT&T Park in San Francisco, the New York Mets play the San Francisco Giants. Friday Night Baseball is presented by Jeep. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the Summer of Jeep celebration going on now. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. By New York's 811, be sure to call 811 before you start any digging project, big or small. Make the 811 call. By Infinity, visit your local Infinity retailer for a test drive today. And by Bob's Discount Furniture, shop in-store or online at mybobs.com. San Francisco, what a glorious city. Fog clears, beautiful night, clear, cool. What a big difference from where the Mets were before in Phoenix. Riding the cable cars like every good tourist on the way to AT&T Park where Juan Marichal stands guard. There are the wild card standings in the National League. The Giants have the first wild card in hand. They're a half game out of first place going into the night. The Mets now 4.5 games off the pace for the second wild card and in desperate need of victories. Last night it was supposed to be a pitcher's duel when the Mets came to town with Jacob deGrom on the mound against Madison Bumgarner. It started out that way for the first 3 innings as deGrom and Bumgarner matched zeros, but with an almost full moon, things changed in a hurry in the fourth. Justin Ruggiano just back for the disabled list at a grand slam off Bumgarner to get the Mets the lead, but in the very next half inning, Bumgarner himself with a 2-run homer, his 14th career home run, capped a 5-run inning, and the Giants took the lead for good. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to San Francisco. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets try to get even in the series against the Giants. And the Mets will have reinforcements tonight because Yoenis Cespedes, who's missed 14 games, and Asdrubal Cabrera, who's missed 17 games, are both back in the lineup for the Mets tonight.
Well, they've had a patchwork lineup now for quite some time with these two guys down. Reyes was the first one to come back off the disabled list. Cespedes, obviously, Gary, a big guy in this lineup. And I like the fact in tonight's lineup, they've hit him third all year. He's hitting cleanup. I like him in the cleanup hole with Bruce hitting third. Gives Bruce protection. It also gives Terry that left-right down that lineup, which makes it very difficult for opposing managers.
Well, this was to have been Steven Matz's turn to pitch tonight, but Matz came up with a twinge in his shoulder while throwing on the side between starts. He's scratched. Seth Lugo makes his first major league start in his stead.
Well, Seth Lugo did begin the season in AAA in the starting rotation, was sent to the bullpen, was called up here. 9 appearances, has done a terrific job in the bullpen. But this is an emergency start here for Seth Lugo, and it's a big start for him and a big start for this team. They've got to get back on the winning track.
Mets will hope to get 5 innings out of Lugo tonight. Meanwhile, the National League starting pitcher in the All-Star game, Johnny Cueto, has not won since the All-Star break.
Yeah, in 6 starts, Gary, he's 0-2 with an ERA well over 4. His big bugaboo so far in the second half has been the left-hand hitters. They're hitting almost 340 against him. Right-handers under 200. So it's a lot of left-hand hitters in the Mets lineup to counter this, try to take advantage of Cueto.
Mets have been outscored 38-25 through the first 4 games of the trip, looking to get a victory tonight in the shadow of the statues outside AT&T Park. Mets and Giants coming up. At AT&T Park in San Francisco, the New York Mets play the San Francisco Giants. Friday Night Baseball is presented by Jeep. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the Summer of Jeep celebration going on now. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. By New York's 811, be sure to call 811 before you start any digging project, big or small. Make the 811 call. By Infinity, visit your local Infinity retailer for a test drive today. And by Bob's Discount Furniture, shop in-store or online at mybobs.com. San Francisco, what a glorious city. Fog clears, beautiful night, clear, cool. What a big difference from where the Mets were before in Phoenix. Riding the cable cars like every good tourist on the way to AT&T Park, where Juan Marichal stands guard. There are the wild card standings in the National League. The Giants have the first wild card in hand. They're a half game out of first place going into the night. The Mets now 4.5 games off the pace for the second wild card and in desperate need of victories. Last night it was supposed to be a pitcher's duel when the Mets came to town with Jacob deGrom on the mound against Madison Bumgarner. It started out that way for the first 3 innings as deGrom and Bumgarner matched zeros, but with an almost full moon, things changed in a hurry in the fourth. Justin Ruggiano just back for the disabled list, at a grand slam off Bumgarner to get the Mets the lead. But in the very next half inning, Bumgarner himself with a 2-run homer, his 14th career home run, capped a 5-run inning, and the Giants took the lead for good. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to San Francisco. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets try to get even in the series against the Giants. And the Mets will have reinforcements tonight because Yoenis Cespedes, who's missed 14 games, and Asdrubal Cabrera, who's missed 17 games, are both back in the lineup for the Mets tonight.
Well, they've had a patchwork lineup now for quite some time with these two guys down. Reyes was the first one to come back off the disabled list. Cespedes, obviously, Gary, a big guy in this lineup. And I like the fact in tonight's lineup, they've hit him third all year. He's hitting cleanup. I like him in the cleanup hole with Bruce hitting third. Gives Bruce protection. It also gives Terry that left, right down that lineup, which makes it very difficult for opposing managers.
Well, this was to have been Steven Matz's turn to pitch tonight, but Matz came up with a twinge in his shoulder while throwing on the side between starts. He's scratched. Seth Lugo makes his first major league start in his stead.
Well, Seth Lugo did begin the season in AAA in the starting rotation, was sent to the bullpen, was called up here. 9 appearances, has done a terrific job in the bullpen. But this is an emergency start here for Seth Lugo, and it's a big start for him and a big start for this team. They've got to get back on the winning track.
Mets will hope to get 5 innings out of Lugo tonight. Meanwhile, the National League starting pitcher in the All-Star game, Johnny Cueto, has not won since the All-Star break.
Yeah, in 6 starts, Gary, he's 0-2 with an ERA well over 4. His big bugaboo so far in the second half has been the left-hand hitters. They're hitting almost 340 against him. Right-handers under 200. So it's a lot of left-hand hitters in the Mets lineup to counter this, try to take advantage of Cueto.
Mets have been outscored 38-25 through the first 4 games of the trip, looking to get a victory tonight in the shadow of the statues outside AT&T Park. Mets and Giants coming up. They're 90-year-old Tony Bennett, 85-year-old Willie Mays. They're celebrating Tony's 90th birthday in the ballpark tonight, and well, that is just a great sight to see the two of them as hale and hearty and as smiling and happy as you could possibly be.
Well, the Giants just continue to do everything right here. They're a wonderful organization. This is a wonderful tribute to Tony Bennett, of course, that wonderful "I left my heart in San Francisco." How can we ever forget that?
No wonder he left his heart here.
Yes.
New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the State Farm agent of the game, Pat Cawley of Glendale, New York. Contact Pat at patcawley.com. By the New York Lottery, take a break from the expected. Play scratch-off games from the New York Lottery. And by the Kia Top Quality Sales Event, visit TriStateKiaDealers.com to learn more. Get to Citi Field for Free Shirt Friday, August 26th, when the Mets play the Phillies at 7:10 p.m. All fans in attendance will receive a NYN AT SFN t-shirt, courtesy of United Healthcare. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Free Shirt Fridays. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Travis d'Arnaud on a hot streak right now, 9 hits in his last 17 at-bats. He's not in the lineup tonight, but Travis has been going great guns. And a little bit earlier tonight, Steve Gelbs caught up with Travis down on the field to talk about what's going on with him and the team.
You're hitting over 300 in August. How would you self-evaluate, self-critique yourself at the plate right now?
I'm just keeping things simple. I'm not trying to do things I can't do and overswing. And fortunately, when I do overswing, I have two great hitting coaches that make sure I stay focused and keep things simple.
We've seen at times you tinker with your swing, with your stance. Has going away from that really helped you in this stretch?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just doing the same thing every single day. It's making my swing more consistent, so when I do get my pitches to hit, I'm not late or early or anything. I'm right on time and able to keep things simple.
Travis, why do you think teams have really tried to run so wild on you guys?
I don't know. Maybe they have good coaches, good scouting reports on little things that could be happening. A lot of the teams we have been playing are aggressive on the base paths, like the Diamondbacks and the Padres, and we knew that going into this series that they were going to be running a lot. And when we're able to throw them out, we just throw them out, and all we can really focus on is putting a good clean throw and trying to execute a good throw.
How do you counteract that?
Just mixing up your timings on the pitcher's mound, picking off, hold picks, slide steps. Just a whole bunch of little different things to try to not let them get comfortable and in their timing mechanism to be able to get a good jump.
Quick scouting report on Seth Lugo.
He's got 2 different fastballs, a 4-seam and a 2-seam that he's able to locate on both sides of the plate. He's got both breakers and a really good changeup as well. So I think he's going to do a great job, and you all see tonight.
Travis, appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, the Mets are hoping Seth Lugo can give them a quality start in his first starting assignment in the major leagues. Mets and Giants in the city by the bay. First pitch is coming right up. Jeep and the unique brand of freedom you'll only find in the full line of Jeep vehicles. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. Take advantage of a special Coca-Cola combo offer in select seating areas during all remaining Mets home games. Tickets start at just $19 and include a $10 food and beverage credit, so you can cheer on the Mets while enjoying your favorite Coca-Cola products. Tickets for this offer are only available at Mets.com/combo. Well, the Giants are in their 134th season. They began play as the New York Gothams in 1883, and they do a fabulous job here of celebrating their history, not just since they moved to San Francisco in 1958, but going all the way back to their origins playing in Coogan's Bluff. Gaylord Perry statue, the most recent that went up earlier this year for the Hall of Fame pitcher. See all the retired numbers, and of course the great Willie Mays, who's not only here at statuary but here in person tonight as well. 85 years young and looking terrific, as he was down on the field a little bit earlier. Beautiful setting here at AT&T Park, right on the shores of San Francisco Bay. And another sellout crowd expected tonight. It'll be the 469th consecutive regular season sellout for the Giants.
Just a fabulous venue here. Willie McCovey is also in the house. I went over and said hello to Big Stretch. He's around 2 rooms to the right of us. He comes every night. He doesn't get around well now. He's always had the knee problems, but he's always here. There he is, Big Stretch, one of my favorites. What a great player, Hall of Famer.
1959 National League Rookie of the Year, playing about half a season in left field, and was dominant enough to make his mark on this league very quickly. And you know, while Willie Mays was a New York icon who moved west, Willie McCovey was San Francisco's own.
Yes.
He came up with the San Francisco Giants and is just a beloved figure here.
Yes, he is, and rightly so. Number 44.
Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup, and as Keith mentioned in the open, NYN AT SFN is back in the lineup in the cleanup spot behind Jay Bruce. This will only be the second game that they have played together. Bruce's first game as a Met was Cespedes' last before he went on the disabled list with a quad injury. As Dribble Cabrera at shortstop hitting 7th, Jose Reyes moves over to third base after filling in at short for Cabrera since his return from the disabled list. So the Mets are a little more whole tonight than they were for the last couple of weeks, and they'll see whether that can translate into on-field success as they take on Johnny Cueto tonight.
Well, Cueto with his 25th start, the Mets are going to try to keep him on his downward spiral since the All-Star break. Remember last year in the World Series, he pitched that spectacular 2-hit 1-run ball game, complete game against the Mets for the Kansas City Royals. Came over here as a free agent. Really quite a pitcher from the Dominican Republic. And the defense, the Coors Light defense. And that is, the Giants have had injuries. They've got their full team back. Hunter Pence just coming off the DL. Eduardo Nunez had a terrific game last night with the bat. Brandon Belt at first base. He's been struggling since the All-Star break. He's admired in a deep slump. And Buster Posey, MVP, batting champion, got a big hit last night as well behind the plate.
Bruce Bochy going with the same lineup as last night. Why not, after banging out 10 runs and 17 hits for a Giants team that had been struggling? The Giants, even with the win last night, just 10-21 since the All-Star break. Jose Reyes will lead things off, and Cueto's first pitch is in for a strike, and we're underway. Reyes 1 for 5 last night, getting a 247, better right-handed than left. And Reyes lines one toward the hole, a base hit to open the night. So Jose Reyes, who's had a good road trip, that's 8 for 23 on the trip, has a hit for the 6th straight game, and the Mets have the leadoff man on.
Well, Jose Reyes has not lost his bat speed. That's what I look for. So he is not in any shape, form, or fashion over the hill. He has got the quick bat. He's just rounding himself into shape. He's missed a lot of time, and again, another left-hand hitter giving Cueto trouble.
Here's Kelly Johnson hitting second the order and playing second base. Neil Walker out for the 4th straight night, and Johnson fouls off the first pitch changeup. So Walker's back, feeling better today. He was out on the field doing some activity, might be available to pinch hit, but for the 4th straight game, Walker does not start, and Kelly Johnson has been playing both second and third in the lineup at second tonight. And Cueto misses low and in, a ball and a strike. Johnny Cueto now 30 years old, 109 big league victories. His best season came 2 years ago when he finished second in the Cy Young balloting behind Clayton Kershaw, won 20 games with the Reds. And it's pulled foul. Last year he was traded before the deadline from the Reds to Kansas City, and the Mets of course saw him in October at his finest, throwing a complete game 2 hitter in game 2 of the World Series.
2014 he finished second behind Kershaw, who got all 30 first place votes. He led the league that year, Cueto, in strikeouts and innings pitched.
1-2 coming, and it's at the feet of Johnson. Reyes takes off the throw by Posey in plenty of time, and Reyes is tagged out. And that is the first out of the night.
Well, a very athletic play here by Posey. He knows Reyes is fleet of foot. Watch him throw from the knee. Oh, he got up and threw a little Laredo there. And Reyes out by a mile, and you got to slide.
I just don't understand the not sliding part and giving yourself up like that. Why would you do that?
Well, Reyes, he hesitated. He got caught in between. So, you know, those are quick snap decisions, but we're talking about the slide. You've got to slide.
3-2 to Kelly Johnson, and he lifts one foul down the left field side. Nunez giving chase and lands beyond his reach right behind the tarp, and that becomes a souvenir. 3-2 to Johnson. Well, Posey with a terrific play, but that's really hard to take for a team that's struggling right now, to give yourself up like that and not slide.
And a veteran player too, and you know what, Gary, it just looks bad.
Yep, sure does. Jay Bruce waits on deck. 1 out and nobody on. Kelly 5 for 11 on this road trip, launches 1 out to right field. Plenty of room out there for Hunter Pence, and he puts it away for the second out. So 2 out and nobody on as Jay Bruce comes to the plate. Looked for a while tonight as though the Mets might have a chance to gain some ground in the wild card race, because the Cardinals were down 3-1 to the Phillies in the 9th, but then Jed Jerko, who's been so clutch for the Cardinals, hit a 2-run homer to tie that game up, and they're now in the 10th inning. Here's Bruce. 1 for 5 last night, hitting just 188 over his first 16 games as a Met. Now with Cespedes behind him in the batting order, perhaps that will help Bruce out. And Jay grounds one right to the second baseman. Panic's got it. Side retired. Looked like a promising start to the inning, with Reyes leading off with a hit against Johnny Cueto, but trying to advance on a short wild pitch. Reyes thrown out easily by Buster Posey. No score. The Giants tonight, they snapped a 4-game losing streak with their 10-run output last night, and so the same starting 8 for San Francisco tonight. Giants 13 games over 500, half game out of first place as play begins tonight.
And there's Seth Lugo, his Land Rover numbers. They're all relief numbers, folks. And they're nice numbers, but he's got big task ahead of him tonight.
He worked night before last in Arizona, with an inning and a third. Denard Span leads off and takes a strike. So if Lugo is going to get any depth into this game, he's going to have to throw strikes, get some quick outs, because it's hard to imagine him throwing much more than about 75 or 80 pitches tonight. Most he threw out of the bullpen for the Mets was 41. And Span takes off the plate, a ball and a strike. Lugo, 26 years old, out of Centenary College in Louisiana. He pitched for them the last year they were a Division I program. And the curveball has him ahead on Span, 1-2.
Oh, Lugo has a good curve. And remember, he's got the element of surprise here in his favor. No one has seen him from the Giants. See, they can look at all the tape you want, but there's no substitute to getting in that box.
He's been up and down a couple of times between Las Vegas and New York. And the curveball strikes out Span. Good start for Lugo as he fans the first man to face him.
I would think that Terry Collins would be very happy to get 5 innings out of Lugo tonight. And remember, he hasn't, I don't say that negatively. He's been in relief. You're not going to push this guy too far. Gary mentioned 85 pitches will probably be his max.
He did make 14 starts early this year for Vegas, threw as many as 108 pitches, but that was back in May, so it's been a long time since he's gone deep into a game.
So it's going to be a bullpen night.
Here's Angel Pagan. Pagan riding a 16-game hitting streak after going 1 for 4 last night. Angel up to 296 for the year, and he takes a fastball for a strike, and Lugo has come out throwing strikes, which is exactly what the Mets were hoping for. He's been very good so far in relief. He hasn't pitched in very many high leverage situations, but when called upon, he's been able to go 2 or 3 innings at a time.
He's the kind of guy you can, in relief, Gary, that you can run, you know, it doesn't happen too much anymore, but once through the order. You know, if you go boom, 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 it's 3 innings out of him. He can give you 3.
And Pagan lifts one to left. Cespedes' first chance. 2 out.
Yeah, we got some new changes here for your Lexus New York Metsies. Look who's in left field. Hitting cleanup. Cespedes back. Welcome him, folks. Cabrera back at shortstop. Reyes moving back to third. Welcome back. Much needed. Rivera behind the plate.
By the way, Cespedes met with reporters before the game tonight, and he was adamant in telling all who gathered that the doctors told him that playing golf had absolutely nothing to do with his quad injury.
Brandon Belt hits one deep to right center field, chasing Bruce back in Triple's alley, and it's up against the wall. Belt on his way to second. He'll take the turn and try for 3, and Triple's alley lives up to its name. 6th triple of the year for Brandon Belt.
Well, why do they call it Triple's alley? Look at the 3 numbers on the wall out there, and that'll tell you why. That is cavernous. And this is a fastball. He has been struggling, Belt. I talked with Bruce Bochy before the game during batting practice on the field, and he just offered the information. He goes, I need to get my first baseman going here.
Well,
there you go.
Belt had a huge first half, but struggling since the break, but he cracked down.
He's a lumbering kind of guy. They call him, what did they nickname Gary, the Giraffe?
Baby Giraffe. Here's Buster Posey. Posey put the game away last night with a 2-run double in the 8th inning against Addison Reed.
Yes, he's got back issues. He's told not to run hard to first base. Posey said it only bothers him when he runs.
But he did run hard in the 4th inning. Remember, he topped that infield single against Jacob deGrom that got that 5-run 4th started for the Giants.
Yes, he did. Started innocently, but the next 4 hits in that inning were bullets. 2 singles, a triple, and the 2-run home run, of course, by Madison Bumgarner, the starter.
One and one to the former MVP.
And knocked down by Rivera, and keeps it close enough that Belt can't make a break.
Kind of scooted to the left, but kept it in front.
That's what you were talking about also. Belt not all that fleet of foot. If he's a fast runner with 2 out, he probably tries to score there. But it didn't get far enough away for him to make a break. So now it's 2-1 to Posey. With Brandon Crawford waiting on deck. And it's grounded right at the shortstop. Cabrera with his first chance. Throws out Posey, and Lugo works around the triple by Belt in the opening inning. No score after 1. Lead to AT&T Park as the Giant fans pack the yard again tonight. Opened in 2000, Mets played the Giants here in the National League Division Series that year.
Kentucky bluegrass blend.
And the crushed volcanic rock.
Only in California. It's probably mandated from Sacramento.
Yoenis Cespedes gets his first at bat as we start the second inning. Cespedes' first game back off the disabled list after missing 14 games with a quad injury. Last played on the 3rd of August against the Yankees, and he hits the first pitch on the ground to Crawford at short. 1 pitch, and Cueto has the first out in the second. Nice to see Cespedes running hard. He says that quad is 100%. Remember, he took 9 days off after he first hurt it against the Marlins in early July, but it never seemed to heal. But this latest stretch on the disabled list seems to have knocked the injury out entirely. At least the Mets hope that's true.
It's always the fine line. And Gary, the bottom line, he was brought back too quick. And you have to be patient, and it's a fine line when a guy's ready. And when he's not, your player is always going to tell you he's ready to go.
There's James Loney, and he fouls one away. Loney in a deep slump right now. 2 for his last 32. He's seen his average drop to 263.
Old Tom McKenna, for all you old Met fans, the old trainer for the Mets that was still around when I came over, always said, when an athlete tells you that he's ready, it's another week.
Yeah, but when that's a star player and you're in the middle of a pennant race,
I hear you.
It's
but
awfully hard to resist the temptation.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, Gary.
It's one of the reasons why the Mets nursed Cespedes as long as they did. But the other thing was that Cespedes felt all along that it was just going to be another day. Going to be another day. Give me one more day. And it put the Mets between a rock and a hard place.
Well, someone's got to take command.
Loney He takes the changeup low, and it's 2-2. Well, it finally came to a head after he DH'd that game at Yankee Stadium. He came out, knew he couldn't go anymore, and the Mets immediately put him on the DL and rested him for the 2 weeks. Loney pulls one toward the hole, but Panic runs it down. Beautiful. And that's the second out.
Very nice play, and we'll watch this again and watch how Panic moves to his left, and look at his glove facing the ball wide open. Just beautiful. He had his fingers spread, his glove in a full fan. There you go. Beautifully done. There you go. That's what you got the glove for.
Here's Curtis Granderson, and he hits one in the air deep down the right field line, headed toward the corner. That ball is out of here. Curtis Granderson loses one, his 20th home run of the year, to give the Mets the early lead. A splashdown home run for Curtis Granderson into McCovey Cove. And the Mets strike first on Granderson's 20th of the season and his 3rd against Johnny Cueto in just 13 career at-bats.
Well, I saw Curtis taking extra underhand tosses in the cage before the game here. Gets a slider down and in, and boy, if Curtis can get untracked and finish strong, then the whole first 4 months of this 4.5 months of the season are forgotten.
Now as Drupal Cabrera takes a strike. Well, with the Mets back more intact offensively, it enabled Terry Collins to drop Granderson in the batting order, and that might be the biggest saving grace of all. That's it up the middle, and a base hit for Cabrera in his first at bat off the DL. Cabrera, who last played a game on the last day of July, missed 17 games, and he has a base hit his first crack at Cueto.
Left-hand hitters, hits that sinker beautifully. And it's very ironic, Gary, and you mentioned earlier Ty Kelly and TJ Rivera really acquitted themselves tremendously with their stay here. They hit the ball well, they got on base, opened up some eyes, impressed me.
Well, between them, they were 11 for 25 on the road trip. It's hard to send down a pair of players in 440, but that's the numbers game. They'll both be back in September. Rene Rivera takes a strike. And TJ Rivera especially, I mean, he has a unique ability to put bat on ball, and he's going to be a very interesting player to watch, whether it's as a starter or more likely in a utility role in years to come. Rene Rivera, 3 for his last 23, had a pinch hit at bat in the game last night and drove in a run with a ground out. For Johnny Cueto, only the 13th home run he's allowed this year in 25 starts. This is not a great home run hitter's ballpark, despite the fact that Barry Bonds set records here.
Ball carries down the lines. 309 down the right field line. Almost what's 340s to about down the left field line. 339 to be exact.
Only 309 in the right field corner, but to get the big wall out there, 24 feet high. Rivera takes a cut and misses 2-2.
What was the right field line at Coogan's Bluff at Bill Polo Grounds?
257.
Oh.
But it jutted out so quickly, and it was
Mel Ott loved it.
500 feet in center field. Dusty Rhodes.
Yes.
Grounded to short. Crawford makes the flip, and that retires the side. But the Mets grab the early lead. Curtis Granderson, first pitch he sees from Johnny Cueto, his 20th home run of the season. Granderson into the drink, gets the Mets off to a fast start. Get the ball. go to the bottom of the second in San Francisco. Mets with a 1-0 lead, courtesy of Curtis Granderson's home run. You look at Willie McCovey's statue. Brandon Crawford leads off against Seth Lugo. Lugo worked a scoreless first inning, worked around a 2-out double by Brandon Belt. Brandon Crawford 3 hits last night, up to 276 for the year. He's having another terrific season. Curtis Granderson, that's the second time in his career he's hit one into McCovey Cove. Hit one 2 years ago against Tim Lincecum.
We've got Carlos Delgado did it twice. Cliff Floyd did it twice.
Crawford strikes out on the fastball. Second strikeout for Seth Lugo. He's looking good in the early going. Verizon trivia question for tonight. Johnny Cueto threw a complete game against the Mets and beat him in Game 2 of the World Series last year. Only 2 other pitchers have had complete game wins against the Mets in the World Series. Who were the other 2?
Gary, I think you know that one.
I do know. I'm sure you know too, because you were there for one of them.
Oh.
Hunter Pence flies one to center field, and Granderson is right there waiting for it. And that's the second out. So Lugo, efficient, gets the 1 pitch out. That's his first of the night on a single pitch, but he'll need a few more of those to go deep into this game.
Lugo is a sinker, curveball, changeup pitcher. Has a slider too. He's a pitcher to contact. He wants the ball on the ground.
Now he'll face Eduardo Nunez, who had a huge night last night. Nunez, who was an all-star with the Twins this year, 4 for 4 last night for the Giants. His 6th 4-hit game this season. He had 4 of them for the Twins and 2 of them now for the Giants, and he takes a strike. Nunez drove in 3 runs. He stole a base, at a triple. Eduardo Nunez with the 6 4-hit games. There's only 1 player this year who's had more, and that's the incredible Jose Altuve, who has 8 4-hit games. Altuve had another huge night tonight. 3 for 6, a homer, 5 RBIs in the Astros' 15-8 drubbing of the Orioles.
He's got to be close to 370, doesn't he, Gary?
He's having an unbelievable year. Second in the American League in slugging percentage for a guy who's 5'5". And Nunez took a swing at that and got a piece of it. Don't
have to be a tall guy to be good in this game.
But I mean, the power that he's displayed this year. He's got 20 home runs now.
I know, but yes, I agreed. That is something that wasn't expected. He's in a nice hitting ballpark.
Steals bases. He gets on base.
Yeah, well, stolen bases don't mean anything here. Today's game.
Yeah, just tell the Mets that. 0-2 to Nunez. And it's popped foul and out of play. Nunez stole his 30th base of the year last night.
He did.
Not too many guys steal 30 anymore.
How many for the Giants? He hasn't been here long enough.
It's his 3rd, maybe.
I have it right here. I thought I had it. I don't. I think it's his 3rd. 3 out of 4, I believe.
And Nunez just gets a piece of the breaking ball. So the Giants tonight, if they were to win, would go back into first place because the Dodgers just lost. 9-2 the final in Cincinnati. The Reds all of a sudden, they're getting some momentum going. They won 3 in a row from Miami, and now they beat the Dodgers tonight.
Well, they're could be one of the spoiler teams, right? They always pop their head up.
They beat up on Bud Norris tonight. Norris just back from the disabled list. Breaking ball hit on the ground right at Cabrera. And so Seth Lugo, after getting the lead, throws a 1-2-3, bottom of the 2nd. On to the 3rd we go, 1-0 Mets. leaves this season, honoring two of their former stars, Jim Davenport and the Hall of Famer Monty Irvin, who passed away in January at the age of 96. Monty didn't get to the big leagues till the age of 30, played 8 seasons in the major leagues, came to the Giants in 1949 after an incredible career in the Negro Leagues.
You know, we've all had our day, huh? What a wonderful man. I had the great pleasure to know him, and always a smile on his face, very gracious, and always treated me. I knew him when I was in the minor leagues and I was up and coming, and he was wonderful to me. You know, those are things you just don't forget.
Well, Monty Irvin did work for the Mets after his major league career was over, did some PR work with the Mets, and then worked in the commissioner's office for years. Seth Lugo getting his first major league plate appearance. And he grounds one down to third. Nunez back to get it. Makes the long throw on target, one away. Here's a little known fact about Monty Irvin. In addition to everything he did in baseball, he did a little bit of broadcasting, and he, in fact, for 1 year was the analyst on the New York Jets radio broadcast, working alongside Bob Murphy.
1963?
The last year the Jets played in the Polo Grounds. It was the first year they were the Jets after they changed the name from the Titans. And they played at the Polo Grounds, and Bob Murphy and Monty Irvin were the radio team for the Jets that year.
How did he get that gig?
Well, I'll tell you how. He worked for Rheingold.
Right.
And Rheingold was the sponsor of the Jets broadcast, and that's how that transpired. Reyes pulls one down the right field line, and that's going to go all the way back to the wall. Pence plays the carom. Reyes heads to second, and he's in standing with a 1-out double. So Reyes is 2 for 2.
Two balls hard, Jose. It's nice to see it from the left side. It's been a little slow start for him from the left side of the plate. Just a matter of time.
So Reyes is on second with 1 out. And now Kelly Johnson, who flied out his first time up.
Left-hand batters 4 for 7 so far against Cueto. Mentioned that he's had difficulty against left-hand batters since the All-Star break.
Well, coming into the game for the season, lefties were hitting .270 against him, righties just .213. And he crowds Kelly Johnson and gets a call strike. To Johnson, a ball and a strike. And the Giants won the most recent of their 3 World Series championships in 5 years. Monty Irvin was part of the contingent that was invited to the White House, and there's Monty sitting next to Willie Mays.
I have not seen Monty in a very, very long time.
Johnson yanks one foul. Jay Bruce sitting third in the order, waiting on deck. Mets with a 1-0 lead on the strength of a Curtis Granderson home run in the second. Now Reyes at second with 1 out. And Cueto keeping an eye on Jose. Cueto's always done a very good job controlling the running game. He varies his speeds to the plate, does a lot of holds.
Right. He can be quick home. He can do the Louis Tiant to turn your back to you. He does have a lot of different combinations in his delivery and wind up and from the stretch.
Cueto, one of the big additions for the Giants this season. They brought in both Cueto and Jeff Samardzija to work behind Madison Bumgarner in the rotation, and they spent a lot of money for Cueto, a guy who had a so-so year last year. He pitched a great game against the Mets in the World Series, but leading up to that, he had some real bobbles down the stretch for Kansas City.
It was not a factor.
It was a real question mark going into the postseason.
And he pitches a 2-hit masterpiece against the Metsies.
I mean, his combined record last year with the Reds and the Royals was 11-13, 3.44. Didn't have a great year. Johnson takes one the other way foul, but he He was there when it counted for the Royals in that second game victory. He allowed just 2 hits in his complete game win, and Lucas Duda had both hits for the Mets in that game. The Mets had a lot of success against Cueto early in his career when he was with the Reds, but the last 3 or 4 years they've done very little against him. 1-2 coming, and Johnson strikes out on the fastball away, and Cueto has his first strikeout of the night.
Chased a bad one, but lifetime Cueto has had difficulty with the Mets, and there you go right there. Lowest ERA since 2011. He's number 2 on the list. Some pretty good names up there. The only one that's not playing anymore is Cliff Lee.
And remember, for most of that time he's pitching in Cincinnati, which is a great hitter's ballpark.
Correct. Take bandbox. 2-4 lifetime against the Mets in 11 starts.
Here's Jay Bruce, and he takes a strike. Was grounded out his first time up. Questioning the young home plate umpire Quinn Walcott about that call. And it's funny, the Mets get all their reinforcements back now, right? Reyes comes back. Ruggiano came back last night and had a grand slam. Now they get Cespedes and Cabrera back. But you look at the numbers lately for this team, the problem hasn't been the offense. The problem has been the pitching.
Yes.
That's given up 38 runs in 4 games on this road trip.
Well, Arizona seemed to have their number this year. I mean, Arizona's got a pretty good hitting lineup.
And then tack on what happened last night with DeGrom getting lit up by a Giants team that had been struggling in their own right. Mets have been outscored on this road trip coming into tonight 38-25. So they're averaging over 6 runs per game, and yet they've lost 3 of 4.
I'm hopeful that the reinforcements back, that Bruce now won't feel the weight of the world on his shoulders and might loosen up and get red hot. He's due to bust out.
1-2 coming. He gets jammed by the fastball and fouls it off.
Oh.
New looking due for Asdrubal Cabrera. Jose Reyes has already gone red and then blonde, and now Cabrera blonde as well.
We should do a text on this and have a vote, whether a text poll, whether thumbs up or thumbs down, folks.
I think it looks great on Asdrubal.
I want to know what Met fans think about it.
Okay.
I'm totally impartial.
Is this part of Keith's fashion tips?
No, no fashion. No, I only do clothing, not hair.
No.
No, I don't do hair, Gary.
But do you do windows? Two and 2 to Bruce. Cespedes would be next. Cueto taking a long time getting a sign from Posey. And Bruce fouls off another fastball.
Well, the Giants certainly would like to see Cueto get his first half form back with a big push. See his hand down by his right knee exposed. Oh, hesitation.
Bruce lines it foul. Now, you got a pitcher like that who hangs his leg in midair. How much does that mess with your time?
It could throw you off. So you have to, I don't know, I have to get up there. I'd have to actually experience it. I must say that I did face Louis Tion, Gary, a few times in spring training when he was with the Red Sox. But Louis had the same thing all the time. So there was a cadence, a rhythm. He does this on purpose. He mixes it up to try to throw you off.
Again, the 2-2, and the cutter misses low and in, and a full count to Bruce. Well, the Cardinals rallied and beat the Phillies. Randall Grichuk drove in a run in the 11th, so the Cardinals beat the Phils 4-3. in extra innings.
They're having a terrific road trip.
So the Mets need to win to stay 4.5 back in that second wild card.
Did you notice the Cardinals' record at home?
Well, they've won 5 in a row now. Bruce muscles one to center field. On comes Pagan from left, and he makes the catch. I'm not sure if Span didn't see that ball, but he gave way to Pagan, and Angel came over to make the catch. Still 1-0 New York. The California scene, sunset on the horizon.
Are you okay?
I'm great.
Good. Hey,
it's a very serene picture.
You're going to stay here on Sunday. We don't work with ESPN. You're going to stay in the city and enjoy a lovely day on the bay.
Is that right?
Yes, you are.
Is that in order?
And I am going to come up from San Carlos, and I'm not going to join you. I'm not going to intrude on your off day. But I'm coming up with my brother, and we're going to go into the city too and have a nice lunch.
I'm glad. Joe Panik lines one to right center. Bruce cuts across, and he can't make the catch. And Panik has a base hit. Nice effort by Bruce as he traps that ball on the dive. And the Giants have their second hit against Seth Lugo.
Nice effort here by Bruce, and you can see the short hop. Kept it in front. That ball gets by him. That might be an inside the Parker. And you can see Granderson in center. He already was in backup mode.
Ball clearly hit the grass. So a good call. Gives Panik his second hit in this series, and now Cueto will go up, and the Mets will look for the sacrifice. Cueto's got 8 sacrifices, 6 hits this year. And he pushes one toward first. Lugo makes the toss. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Panik to second.
Beautiful bunt.
You know, good bunting pitchers make it look so easy.
Well, he bunts it a little bit harder. That might get by both Lugo and Loney.
You know, watching a pitcher properly execute a sacrifice bunt reminds me of Ronnie.
Was Ronnie a good bunter? I forget.
He was a terrific bunter. But when I think of Ronnie, it's his birthday today.
That's right. And folks, I know where he's having dinner with his lovely bride. I'm not going to tell you. So there.
He's probably already done with dinner by now. It's after 11.
Oh, forget it.
He's probably listening to us right now.
He might be, you know, hanging around for. It's a big night for him. He might. Remember, he's got the babysitter Friday
home.
night.
Yeah.
Go out and have some fun on the birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Ronnie. I hope you're having a great night. And no matter how many birthdays you celebrate, you'll always be the junior member of the triumvirate.
Don't ever forget that either.
56 candles for Ronnie.
Is it 56?
56.
How about that? I got the big 6'3" coming. Oof. Getting near Social Security. Gosh, I got a letter in the mail last week. What I'm going to get. Now that's a little depressing.
It's kind of like when you're 49 and you get that first message from AARP.
It's like put all that money into that and all those years, and that's what I'm getting. You got to be kidding me.
2-1 to Span, who struck out his first time up. And he hits it sharply past Kelly Johnson, a base hit. Panic being waved around third. Bruce's throw to the plate on a hop, not in time. And the Giants tie the game. Denard Span with a run-scoring single, and it's 1-1.
Well, Span was 3 for 4 last night. Had a big night. Swung the bat great. Hit the ball hard 3 times. And here he is, getting in that crouch. Ball had too much plate right there. Not enough sink. Hit too hard, just out of the reach. Kelly Johnson. Bruce hitting the cutoff man does not allow the runner to advance. I don't know what the hesitation was there, but Panic scores anyway.
So the sacrifice bunt by Cueto proves crucial to the Giants getting their first run. Now Angel Pagan, the batter. Pagan flied out his first time up and takes a fastball for a strike.
So this was a very, very sad day in New York, more than likely, Gare, because this was the day in 1957 when the Giants, the New York Giants, announced that they were moving to San Francisco on this day.
And at that point, the Dodgers had not yet announced that they had left, even though Walter O'Malley had already made plans, but he induced Horace Stoneham, the Giants owner, to announce it first.
Well,
he was a sly guy.
They did more than induce him to build Candlestick Park.
Well,
that's for sure.
That was a whole different story.
Mayor Christopher. Oh, what a con job that was.
Well, they took him out to Candlestick Point at 9 in the morning.
Right.
When it was nice and dead calm.
Correct. And it was a friend of the mayor's owned the property. It was a dump site.
The plaque honoring the New York Giants world champions that hangs here in San Francisco.
Oh my God, there it is. Oh,
it's no longer there.
Oh,
this is not live. There is no more.
Do you remember
Candlestick Park.
When they had AstroTurf on there? They had like AstroTurf for 2 years, I believe. I forget the years. They put it on concrete. Get on the airplane for the, we usually with the Cardinals, we started out in San Francisco and worked our way south. We get on the airplane after a 3-game series, and the ankles would be, and my knees would be like throbbing. And what the heck's wrong? Just playing in the street.
The kind of Johnny LeMaster film. 1-2 coming. Grounded down to first. Handled by Loney. Gets the out at second. The return by Cabrera for the 3-6-3 double play.
Very nice.
Nicely executed to get Lugo out of further trouble in the third.
Look how quick he gets rid of it. Beautiful, James. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Music to my ears.
1-1 game after 3. Fourth inning in San Francisco. Mets and Giants tied at 1. Yoenis Cespedes will lead off the fourth for New York. Cespedes saw one pitch his first time up and grounded out to shortstop against Johnny Cueto. Cespedes first hurt the quad jumping for a ball coming off the wall against the Marlins in early July, and he played 17 games after he hurt the quad. In those 17 games he hit .212 with 1 home run. So even though he was able to stay in the lineup for periods of time, he just wasn't effective. And now the Mets are hoping they're getting a full strength Cespedes back into the lineup for the final 6 weeks. Pops this one up into shallow center, and Denard Span is there to get it. 1 out. Well, it is the day they're celebrating Tony Bennett's 90th birthday, and
Tony looks great.
Himself was on hand earlier today as they unveiled a statue of Tony at the Fairmont Hotel.
Very nice. Little did he know when we recorded that wonderful song, which is really, there's no other song that does such a justice to San Francisco.
Well, he may have left his heart here, but he's still a New York guy.
That's right. Well, Astoria, right?
Born in Astoria. But he is an icon everywhere in the world, but particularly here in San Francisco. James Loney grounded out his first time up. Cueto quickly ahead of him 0-2. Loney didn't start last night against the left-hander. Back in there tonight. Curtis Granderson on deck. And he lifts one down the left field side. And that'll go out of play. Grounds one foul. There's your Porsche leaderboard. Strikeout to walk ratio. Johnny Cueto in the top 5. Nowhere near the leaders. Kershaw and Syndergaard far behind him. Kershaw played catch yesterday. That was the big news out of the Dodgers, hoping that they get him back by the end of the season, but they might be hoping against hope. It'll be interesting to see if the Dodgers have enough pitching to go the distance over the last 6 weeks. They've been patching it together, though. Bullpen's been great. Their offense has been on fire. Justin Turner has just been raking. But they lost tonight in Cincinnati, and now in a flat-footed tie with the Giants pending the outcome of this game.
Giants go down to Los Angeles after this series, if I'm correct.
Yep, starting Tuesday night.
It'll be a big series, obviously.
And Loney takes the backdoor cutter, and it just missed. 2-2.
It's almost like when Cueto uses the quick delivery home, it's almost like a quick pitch.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at bat from Cueto to Loney with 1 out and nobody on. And Loney with a late swing hits it over the bag, a fair ball, base hit. So Loney taking one between Nunez and the third base line, and the Mets have their 5th hit against Cueto. And for Loney, a much needed hit. Snaps an 0-for-11 streak.
Yeah, he's struggling. Been struggling at the bat. We've seen him do that, Gary. That ball away, just hit it right down the line. Got it up. He's mad at himself.
Every time he gives up a hit, he's screaming into his glove. Now here's Granderson, who accounted for the Mets' run with a home run on the first pitch he saw from Cueto his first time up, but went on the drink in McCovey Cove for his 20th of the year.
Down and in slider, not in enough.
And Granderson takes a strike. 1-1. one down to third. Nunez in the perfect position. Crawford covering at second, turns the double play. 5-6-3 on the double play to end the inning. Well, they had the third baseman in just the right spot. Granderson taking one the other way, but gets denied. Still 1-1. As we start the bottom of the fourth, Brandon Belt hits a hot shot, foul. James Loney playing right along the line, gloving it, but just outside the bag. Belt drilled one to the alley in right center for a triple his first time up, his 6th triple of the year. Seth Lugo's done fine so far. He's given up a run on 3 hits over the first 3 innings in his first major league start after 9 relief outings, taking Steven Matz's spot in the rotation. Matz has not been placed on the disabled list. He's going to go back to New York and see the doctor on Monday, and then the Mets will determine where to go from there. But with Matz missing a start, it means it takes away the option of skipping a starter with the off day Monday. So John Neese will open the series in St. Louis on Tuesday night. Just an unfortunate turn of events for Matz, who pitched the game of his life his last time out, taking a no-hitter into the 8th inning. And then between starts, while throwing a curveball during just a game of catch, he felt a little twinge in his shoulder. It went away. He felt it again during his bullpen session the next day and shut it down. Belt hits this one deep to left field. Back goes Cespedes onto the warning track to run it down. Cespedes retreating and making a nice play to retire Belt, 1 out.
And no difficulty with the quad. That's the most important thing here, Garrett. Long way to run. First kind of real test. And also, too, when you got to come to a stop, you put a lot of stress on that quad to get you slow down so you don't crash into that wall. So all good.
Key to deceleration. Now Buster Posey lines one right to Reyes, knocks him over backwards, but Jose hangs on for the 2nd out. And he comes up smiling.
Duck.
That's a bullet. Jose, that's why they call it the hot corner. Guy's been playing in the middle of the infield his whole life.
Yep. And he was playing deep too, Garrett.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Brandon Crawford, who struck out his first time up. One of 2 strikeouts for Lugo. And the first pitch, curveball drilled to left field, and Cespedes back again, and again makes the catch going away. Carbon copy. Side retired. 7-pitch, 1-2-3 inning for Lugo. Still tied at 1. It's synonymous with the San Francisco treat. The cable cars rolling through San Francisco. No more Rice-A-Roni ads.
The San Francisco treat. Ding.
Ghirardelli chocolate. I recommend it highly.
Yes.
5th inning brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealers who invite you to test drive a new Ford. You'll discover why Ford is the total package. As Dribble Cabrera leads off in the 5th inning in a 1-1 game. Cabrera had a base hit his first time up in his first at bat off the DL, and he, like Cespedes, had been struggling before going on the disabled list. Last 9 games before he hit the DL, as Dribble was hitting 129, but his knee is feeling 100%. No guarantee it's not going to happen again. It's the same knee that he tweaked in spring training and missed 3 weeks. Grounded down to first, a foul ball. So as a blonde, Cabrera's hitting 1,000.
Do blondes have more fun?
No, but if they get more hits, they'll stay blonde.
Well, that's fun.
It's fun for him, maybe not so much for the pitchers. 1-2 coming, and he fights it off.
Well, he's already 1 for 1, as you said, Gare. So
there's fun. If it were that easy, every hitter would go blonde. Remember when Piazza went blonde?
Oh, I do.
Little tapper up the line. Belt comes over to get it, and Cueto to the bag for the 3-1 putout. So 1 out and nobody out. Let's go inside baseball with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, as you guys remember, last week we spoke extensively about Major League Baseball's issue with pace of play initiatives and what the league might do moving forward to try and fix some of those issues. Yesterday, Commissioner Manfred acknowledged publicly some of the potential radical changes that we discussed. Among the things that he did talk about as potential changes, limiting shifts, changing the strike zone, limiting pitching changes, and of course, maybe the most likely thing, finally instituting a pitching clock at the major league level. Rene Rivera, that one shoots through, so he's got himself a single. But the important thing to remember with any of these potential rule changes, they do need to be negotiated with the Players Association. The current collective bargaining agreement is up on December 1st, so these issues could be on the table.
And I'm sure that's part of why the commissioner is publicizing these ideas, trying to gauge public support, player support, trying to figure out a negotiating stance. It's going to be very interesting to see how they try to address any of this. I can't imagine they would ban shifts I can't imagine they'd limit pitching changes. Those are things I can't even conceive of. As Lugo tries to push one foul.
I'm more concerned if they're going to ban the big gulp, Gare.
But the pitch clock is something that I could certainly see happening. It's already implemented in the minor leagues, and I think that because it's in the minor leagues, I think it's affected behavior of some of the pitchers that come up. Some of the younger pitchers, we see them working at a more rapid pace because they're used now to having a 20-second pitch clock in the minors.
Well, I'm all for that. There are just some things that are counterproductive, and there's some good things and some bad things. And you know, I'm not a fan of the challenges. I think they are. I know they want to get it right, but I think that is the big culprit now. One of the big culprits of these extended, long games.
Well, I don't think that's going to go away. I do think they can streamline the process. They have to have a time limit on the managers making the challenge, and they have to have a time limit on the umpires deciding the challenges. Belt picks up the bunt, gets the out of second. No throw by Crawford as Lugo hustled down the line. So Belt aggressively goes after the lead man. 3-6 on the force for the second out.
Well, the Giants do this very well. The whole series I've been watching here. I watch Belt come in and get the good jump, get the lead runner. That's terrific. That's the one team that I see do this. There's no other team that does this in the big leagues right now. I don't understand why.
So Lugo now at first with 2 out. Here's Reyes, is already 2 for 2 tonight, and he takes a letter high strike. Reyes is single to left and double to right, and he fouls back the cutter from Cueto. 0-2.
You know, when you put a time on pitches, you're kind of, there might be a time a pitcher has a big out to get, Gary, and maybe take a little bit longer. He may be a fast worker, but maybe he's in the 7th inning and he's in a jam and he needs a little more time. You know, how does that affect? You know, to me, okay, you go behind the mound, you rub the ball up. I need to take a little breather here. This is a big out I got to get. I want to collect myself, and I need this last out of the inning. That gets in the way of it. There's that kind of thing that comes into, that factors into it too, Garrett.
I understand that, and I, in a perfect world, I hate the idea that you have to have a pitch clock, but at a certain point, if the pace of game is slowed so greatly by pitchers taking so long to throw the ball, I think maybe that's the least intrusive thing that you can do to try and speed things up. I don't know. I wish it weren't necessary, but I think it might be. Reyes fouls back. It's interesting, though, that this commissioner has been very open about floating ideas about changing the game, whether it's banning the shifts or talking about the DH or the pitch clock, which he seemed to endorse today. Two from Cueto, and Reyes loops one over short. Crawford has it go over his head, a base hit. Lugo pulls in at second, and Reyes is 3 for 3. First 2 balls he hit hard. This one, a little dunker that falls in left center field.
Keeps the inning rolling.
So a 3 for 3 night for Jose, who keeps on looking better and better at the plate. 9 for 21 now on this road trip. And here's Kelly Johnson with 2 out and 2 on in a tie game.
You see Cueto now taking his time to kind of tie his shoelaces, put his jewelry underneath his jersey. Now he's doing a little gardening on the mound.
So the pitch clock may have run out.
Right. And this is obviously, it's not it's a 2-out situation where you got a runner in scoring position. And Cueto's never been a fast worker anyway.
Well, he can be a situational fast worker. You know, when he's got nobody on base, it works a lot quicker. That's true of a lot of pitchers.
Another question for you, Gare. Hold on.
Johnson takes outside. MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Johnson smokes one into right field for a base hit. Lugo to third. He's going to be held up. And now he runs through the stop sign and then goes back. And now Reyes is hung up.
There you go.
And now Lugo breaks for the plate. Posey runs him back.
The bad base. Oh, boy.
And finally, the tag is made by Belt, and the inning is over. Well, Tim Teufel was waving Lugo, but Lugo stopped. And then after Teufel put up the stop sign, Lugo ran through it. Reyes saw that and ran toward third base. And the Giants were able to get the tag on Lugo to end the inning.
That keeps it a 1-1 game. Well, Seth Lugo's first major league game where he's come to the plate, and he winds up on the base paths, and things do not go well.
All right, listen. Tufts putting the top stop sign on here. Now he takes his head down. Now he goes back, and then he sees Reyes halfway, and that's why he comes off the bag. If he had stayed on third base, they would have gone after Reyes. So there's a multiple bad base running here.
Well, in defense of Reyes, he saw Lugo break for the plate, and so of course he followed, but I mean, Lugo didn't know what he was doing. At first, Teufel gave him the go sign and Lugo stopped. Then he gave him the stop sign and Lugo went. So
in defense of Teufel, Gary, I was watching Teufel. Plenty of time held him up.
No, I don't think Teufel did anything wrong. I'm saying Lugo didn't pay attention.
Lugo put his head down when Teufel put the stop sign up, and you know there's a pitcher out there base running, and there's takes the Mets right out of an inning. Not good.
Play on Lugo goes 9-2-6-2-5-3, and that leads us to the 4th, 5th inning recap. Lugo's pitched well enough. Only 41 pitches through 4 innings. Home run by Curtis Granderson got the Mets the lead. Denard Span's RBI single tied it in the 3rd. And still tied as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Lugo, fresh off his running misadventures, will take on Hunter Pence. Of course, the bottom line for a guy like Lugo is if he'd gotten a better bunt down, he wouldn't have been running the bases. And that's really the bottom line.
Cueto got a bunt down and they scored.
Right.
So it's all fundamentals. But, you know, pitchers aren't used to being out there. And I'm not making an excuse in any which way. It was just bad base running all the way around. Everybody on the bases made a mistake.
Two and one to Pence, who flied out to center field his first time up. Eduardo Nunez on deck, and then Joe Panic for the Giants in the fifth. Mets now have 8 hits off Johnny Cueto in 5 innings, but just the 1 run. Pence pops one up. Cabrera out, Granderson in. And who's going to get it?
No.
It falls. Cabrera looked at Granderson, and Granderson wanted no part of it. That's got to be the center fielder's ball, but Granderson was not going after it. And it falls for a 2-base hit.
Well, this is a poorly played game thus far for the Mets.
I mean, what's Granderson doing?
Curtis pulled up there. He's got to get that ball. You see right there that Cabrera is having an issue. It's the center fielder's ball.
He tries to relocate it after he saw that Granderson had wanted no part of it.
And folks, Hunter Pence is on second base, always hustling. He could have 3/4'd it and not gotten second base, but he hustled.
So it's a gift double for Pence, and now the tie-breaking run is in scoring position with nobody out. Eduardo Nunez the batter. Nunez bounced out to short his first time up. And he lines one to center field. Granderson coming on, and Pence is going to get doubled off second base.
Oh my gosh.
One error begets another. The Mets make a mistake, and Pence gives it right back.
Oh my.
A line drive double play, and there are 2 out.
Oh my word. This is some bad baseball here. This inning that we're watching here, in the inning prior, he just thought it was there. It was just bad read. A very bad read.
Well, you know what happens when you assume.
Oh man. Was that an 8-6 or an 8-4?
I believe it was 8-6.
It was an 8-6. Okay, I've been told. That is seeing some stuff going on here.
Crazy. There's Joe Panic, who had a base hit and scored the Giants' run, and he takes a strike.
Wow.
Well, we've seen enough mistakes made in this inning to last a lifetime.
And it's an equal opportunity employer, both sides.
One and one to Panic with the pitcher Cueto on deck. And the curveball sits high. 2 balls and a strike. Well, it's the 5th inning, and with 2 outs, Seth Lugo's about to throw his 50th pitch. He may go farther into this game than anybody expected.
Doggone right, he's going to go farther.
Grounded down to first. Loney boots it. Can you believe this? What a comedy of errors. That's a literal error on Loney.
Well, Loney's got a very good glove, Gare, and he'd make this play 99 out of 10. It's just going to be one of these games where it rains, it pours. There's just going to be mistakes. Those are physical errors right there. They're not mental errors. So the physical errors are going to happen. It's the mental errors are the ones that get managers upset.
So the inning prolonged on the Loney error, and now Cueto will bat. He sacrificed his first time up. Cueto doesn't cast quite the shadow that Madison Bumgarner does, but he does have 6 hits this year. And he pops this one up. Should be easy for Johnson. Nothing easy in this inning, though. Kelly secures it.
All right.
And the inning comes to an end.
Wash that inning out of our hair.
Is the moon full tonight? After 5, tied at 1. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. Johnny Cueto, one of 3 pitchers to have a complete game win against the Mets in the World Series. The other 2, you saw one of them, Bruce Hurst. Sixth inning, Jay Bruce leads off against Johnny Cueto and takes it high. Bruce lifts one foul ball and a strike. Bruce is grounded out and flied out 0 for 2. The Mets 1 run and 8 hits. The Giants 1 run and 4 hits. Can we just erase that 5th inning from our memory like it never happened?
South Pacific here.
What does that mean?
Wash that inning right out of my hair.
I mean,
it was an ugly one.
It sure was on both sides. There
was
plenty of hair washing to go around. 1-2 to Bruce with Cespedes and Loney to follow for the Mets in the 6th. And the cutter misses inside. 2-2. Maybe we blame it all on Asdrubal Cabrera's blonde locks. As long as we're going with the hair theme. In there for a call, strike 3, and no argument from Bruce on the backdoor cutter by Cueto. Only his 2nd strikeout of the night. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. Johnny Cueto, one of 3 pitchers to record a complete game win against the Mets in the World Series. The other 2, Mike Cuellar and Bruce Hurst. You were there for the 2nd one.
Bruce Hurst was in Fenway, I believe, with big game 5.
Right.
Gave them the command, the edge, but we had other things in mind.
Yeah, it looked like more than an edge with 2 out of the 10th.
It sure did.
Game 6. Here's Cespedes is 0 for 2. Grounded out and flied out. Off the play with a cutter, a ball and a strike. Cespedes played 3 games on rehab down in St. Lucie before being activated. I've never been able to figure out what the ideal number of games for a player to get himself back after a stint on the disabled list is.
Get himself back in shape?
Well, ready to play at the major league level. Do you need a certain number of at-bats? Does it depend how long you're out?
I think it varies, Gare. Roll the dice. Also on the severity of the injury, where you're injured. You know, if you're injured and you're a hitter and your wrist and your hands or your forearm, you do weaken. It's hard to say.
Cespedes grounds one right at Panic, and that's the 2nd out. So Cueto, who has not had a 1-2-3 inning tonight, has retired the first 2 here in the 6th. Well, game 2 last year, after the Royals won game 1 in extra innings, Cueto had a walkover, a 7-1 win. Gave up just 2 hits in that game, both to Lucas Duda.
What is going on?
You have a loud fan in the neighborhood.
What is?
Fortunately, I have no idea what he's saying. Here's James Loney, who's 1 for 2. Loney had a base hit between Nunez and the 3rd base bag his last time up.
The guy, I guess, is on the upper tank, and he's right above us. I guess the upper tank is right above, and very vociferous.
And I guess he's within range of our microphones. Maybe we should lower the capacity on that microphone.
Sounded like he had a nervous breakdown.
Maybe just a little too much of the local fare. Grounded slowly. Panic's got it. Side retired. First 1-2-3 inning of the night for Cueto as he gets the 3, 4, and 5 hitters out to keep the game tied at 1. Seth Lugo starts his third time around the Giants batting order as we go to the bottom of the sixth. It's been a very efficient 5 innings for Seth. He's thrown just 51 pitches, given up a run on 4 hits. Denard Span's driven in that run, and he swings and misses at a slider, 0-1.
I got an idea to speed up games. Let's get all these guys, these evaluators, they want these guys that are throwing 100 miles an hour, 99. They don't even look at guys throwing 88 or pitch to contact, put the ball in play. Look how crisp this game is, except for some play.
Line into center field, a base hit for Span. And he's got his second hit of the night and his 5th in the 2 games.
Span has been doing a heck of a job with the bat on the leadoff position in the order for the Giants.
So the Giants have their 5th hit against Lugo, and you know, the hope for Terry Collins and his staff was that Lugo could give them 5 innings tonight. Well, he's already given them 5, and now they're hoping for more. But the question is, how much slack will they give him in a tie game? We'll find out shortly. Angel Pagan steps in, grounded into a double play his last time up. Lugo could certainly use another one of those. And a first pitch base hit into center field. So trouble brewing here in the 6th. Back-to-back base hits for Span and Pagan.
And I got to think that'll get some activity in the Met bullpen. Yep.
For Angel Pagan, now a 17-game hitting streak.
Hanging slider right there, Gare.
And that will get some action going in the Mets bullpen. Eric Goodell heading down toward the bullpen mound to get started.
And with urgency.
Well, 3 pitches by Lugo in this inning, 2 base hits. Not entirely unpredictable. 3rd time around the batting order. We were talking about it earlier, Keith. Once through the batting order, twice through, but 3rd time a little different for a guy who doesn't have overpowering stuff.
And a guy that has been not started since May.
Well, this is the most pitches he's thrown in a major league game. He'd thrown 41 in a game in July in a 3-inning relief stint. So now Brandon Belt, who had a triple against Lugo in the 1st and then hit one to the warning track in left field in the 4th. So he's had 2 good at bats already. And he takes a lone away for ball 1.
Pretty much straight up in the outfield and on the infield.
Buster Posey looming on deck.
Cabrera is he's chatting with Span, but he's going to be behind him to hold him on. The Mets got to be very, very sensitive to the stolen base.
Third ball hit on the ground to first. Loney's got it to Cabrera for 1. Lugo covers in time. 3-6-1 double play. The Mets turn their 2nd double play. Both started by Loney. Lugo did a good job getting over to cover, and that negates a lot of the trouble that he's facing here in the 6th.
Very nice. Seth gets the ground ball. Loney gets rid of the ball quickly. This was why you turned 2. You've got Belt doesn't run well, but watch Lugo. Ball hit to your left on the right side of the infield. You get over your fanny over there and cover. That's an automatic. But Loney made this happen. He's turned 2 double plays. He gets rid of the ball quick. Well done.
Got a good arm and a quick release.
He can throw him the run too.
So now you've got Posey coming to the plate. Posey hit a bullet line drive his last time up that knocked Reyes over backwards. 0 for 2 on the night. Go ahead run at 3rd with 2 out. Brandon Crawford on deck. And a first pitch breaking ball hit in the air to right. Playable for Bruce. Side retired. Great recovery by Seth Lugo. Back-to-back hits to start the inning. He throws 3 more pitches and gets through it. Still 1-1 after 6. Brew brings you an inside look at the ongoing position battles at camp. Plus, get an in-depth breakdown of Gangrene's first 2 preseason matchups on Jets Nation Inside Camp. New episodes Sunday at 7 only on SNY. Curtis Granderson accounted for the Mets' only run with a splashdown home run in the 2nd inning. And he hits this one in the air to right center field. Back goes Pence onto the warning track. He has room. And he puts it away.
Pence just looks like he's walking on eggs.
He never looks particularly comfortable. He's got an awkward way about everything he does, and yet he's a great player.
Yes, he is.
Let's check in with Steve Gelbs. His report tonight is brought to you by the Kia Top Quality Sales Event. Steve?
Gary, part of what makes Johnny Cueto so difficult to hit, obviously, are the multiple deliveries and the multiple times to the plate, but he's more difficult for certain players than he is for others. The guys with leg kicks that are more timing in their swing have a more difficult time picking Cueto up, obviously, because it's almost impossible to time him out. You never know which delivery is coming your way. Kevin Long said that for those guys specifically, it's important to always assume that the pitch that's coming is the quick delivery and adjust if otherwise.
That makes perfect sense. When you got a leg kick, a lot of timing, and that's part of his game.
1-1 to Cabrera. And he pulls one toward the right field corner, and that ball is foul. Just missed an extra base hit. Well, Cabrera has come back after missing 17 games, and he has looked like he's had his timing.
It's the hair.
The hair giveth and the hair taketh away.
It's like Billy Idol hair. Anyway, here's the delivery of Mr. Cueto. Look, a sidestep back, and then he moves. Look how he moves his foot on the rubber. And here is the Tion turn back. My back to you. And here I come. And he drives off that back leg.
That back turn was something he did not have at the beginning of his career and developed after his first few seasons.
Playing Cabrera for the pull here, a little surprisingly. Big pull on the left side of the infield. You see the third baseman and shortstop way over.
Dribble had his base hit to left center his first time up, 1 for 2 on the night. Working his way toward 100 pitches. He's a guy who can throw 115, 120, no problem. Threw 122 in his World Series win against the Mets last October. Nobody up in the Giants bullpen. Rene Rivera waits on deck. Lugo due up 4th in the inning.
Oh,
the double hesitation.
Oh,
how about that?
little Michael Jackson, almost a moonwalk.
He's laughing at it. That's just superb. The double shimmy.
It had, you notice, it had no effect on Cabrera.
Good for him. Now he bounces one. It's a full count. There has not been a single walk in this game by either pitcher.
There's Dave Righetti, the pitching coach, going, what?
Yeah,
I put my glasses on. Did I see that correctly?
He never did that move. He didn't need to. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming to Asdrubal. And he just got a piece to stay alive. Banged one off his foot. So Cueto right at 100 pitches. And looks like we might get some action. Hunter Strickland is running down toward the Giants bullpen. So Strickland will start loosening up with Cueto reaching the century mark with 1 out in the 7th.
He is the 5th batter in the order next inning for the Giants.
Cueto threw 104 his last time out over 6 2/3 against Baltimore, so right about at the same pace. Again, the 3-2. Cabrera fouls off another one.
Cabrera's had himself a nice night at the plate. 1 for 2, but he's had 2, now 3 solid at bats. Notice how I raised the tone of my voice to cover that engine sound.
You're saying that he's earned himself the extended cap. Might need the extra bed for all the peroxide. 10th pitch of the at bat coming from Cueto to Cabrera.
And he drives one deep to right center field. Cutting over his Pence. And he makes the diving catch.
A lot of hang time here and allows Pence to cover it. Nice play.
All the time.
Nice
Hunter
play.
Pence.
He's a nice player. There's no doubt about it. Beautiful play. That's trouble.
If he misses that ball, it's at least a triple. And Cueto appreciative.
He's whistling to him.
So 2 out and nobody on. It was quite an at bat for Cabrera. And Hunter Pence ruined his results.
Well, it's all about getting to the ball. Once you're there, you're going to make the play. He's a player.
There pulls one. Nunez with a diving stop and throws him out. Eduardo Nunez saving a double. So Cueto living right. His defense took away a couple of extra base hits in that inning. First Pence and then Nunez. And that gets Cueto to the 7th inning stretch, still tied at 1. Seth Lugo back to the mound for the bottom of the 7th, facing Brandon Crawford. Lugo has been remarkable in his first big league start. 57 pitches through 6 innings. He's allowed a run on 6 hits. He's had only 1 3-ball count all night. And given the Mets more than they could have possibly asked for. The only bobble all night was a base running miscue that might have cost the Mets a chance to take the lead.
You know, Gare, I am serious about, we talked about decreasing game times. These guys that pitch to contact and throw strikes don't walk people.
Ground ball right back to Lugo. Bobbles it into his bare hand and throws out Crawford for the first out. Well, it's all a matter of style, right? I mean, it used to be you got a lot of pitchers like this who worked to low pitch counts, got quick outs, but it's not what's valued in the game these days.
Exactly. So what? Because you don't throw 95 miles an hour plus? You can be wild as a March hare.
Jerry Blevins, first man up in the Mets bullpen, with Lugo due to lead off in the top of the 8th. Here's Hunter Pence, who takes an enormous cut, 0-1. City probables for the final 2 games of the series. Bartolo Colon tomorrow afternoon against the lefty Matt Moore. Sunday night, Noah Syndergaard against Jeff Samardzija. Pence got a gift and gave it back in the 5th inning. A pop fly that fell into shallow center field that should have been caught. And on the very next pitch, Eduardo Nunez lined out to center, and Pence was doubled off second base.
2 nice pitches to Pence here. Up and in fastball, and then a good hard slider down and away. See if he can put him away.
Pence fouls back the high fastball. 96 from Lugo.
He's feeling frisky. Don't get carried away. Stay with that sinker.
It's funny because Lugo told the coaching staff earlier this year, he said, "I've got 96 in me." Well, he just showed you he has 96 in him. And it was on his 63rd pitch of the night.
Terry's got to be very pleased with his performance.
Overjoyed. Curveball struck him out. Held on to by Rivera. And there's the 3rd strikeout of the night for Seth Lugo.
Well done. He pitched him extremely tough. It just completely tied up Pence.
It's a nice snag by Rivera on the foul tip.
He almost fell down. Fooled him so completely.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Nunez is 0 for 2 tonight after a 4 for 4 night last night. Hunter Strickland continuing to throw in the Giants bullpen, so Cueto might be done. Nunez launches one to deep left center. Granderson back to the warning track, and it's off the fence. Nunez into second base, pulls in with a 2-out double. I think he thought he hit that ball out. He was in Cadillac mode, and the ball hit the bottom of the fence, and Nunez settles for a long double.
Well, yeah, you're in a new ballpark. Yeah. Get used to it. Don't complain.
Yeah, he hasn't played here long enough to understand the ball just doesn't carry here that well. Nunez has 13 home runs this year. Thought he had another, but Yahoo! It's a double.
Well, he's running hard. He's running hard all the way. But he's upset it didn't get out. Well, you know.
Now the Mets are going to intentionally walk Joe Panic, and that forces Bruce Bochy's hand. He's got Connor Gillespie in the on-deck circle to pinch hit for Cueto. And rather than face Panic, who already has a base hit in this game, Mets will intentionally walk the 8-hitter and bring up Gillespie instead. Then the question is, do you go to Jerry Blevins, or do you leave Lugo in the game? What do you think?
I think you are going to go to Blevins. We'll see what Terry does. If he has the faith in his pitcher, try to get him a win. He certainly earned it, Gary.
This is the first walk of the night for either side. An intentional pass to Panic. Gillespie pinch hit last night. And now Gillespie goes back in, and it's going to be Gregor Blanco instead, another left-hand hitter. So Gillespie was on deck. He went back to the dugout, and now Gregor Blanco, and here comes Terry, and he's going to bring Blevins into the game. So Seth Lugo, a fantastic 6 2/3 innings in his first major league start, and he'll exit, and Jerry Blevins will come in to try and get the final out in the 7th. Every reason for Seth Lugo to be very proud of what he accomplished tonight.
Bravo. the out.
Jerry Blevins brought in to get one out in the bottom of the 7th inning. Pitched last night for an inning and a third. Gregor Blanco was announced as the pinch hitter, but Bruce Bochy switches off to the switch hitting A-Ray Adrianza. And Adrianza, batting right-handed, will hit against Blevins with 2 out and 2 on. And Adrianza takes the curveball outside for ball 1. Adrianza missed 3 months with a broken foot. He's been back just a couple of weeks. He's only had 23 big league at bats this year.
You've got Denard Span, a left-hand hitter in the on-deck circle.
Nunez at second, Panic at first with 2 down. Blevins in relief of Lugo, trying to get 1 huge out. And he takes a look back at Nunez. Lugo threw just 69 pitches to get through 6 2/3 innings. As well as anybody could have possibly hoped for in his first big league start. He gives up 7 hits and the 1 run so far, an intentional walk and 3 strikeouts. Now Blevins trying to keep the game tied. And Adrianza takes a knee-high strike. 1-1. Adrianza's had parts of 4 seasons with the Giants as a utility man. Nunez doubled with 2 outs. Panic was intentionally walked. 1-1 coming. Adrianza hits it hard, base hit. Nunez to third, being waved home. Here comes the throw by Bruce to the plate. It gets away, the run scores, the runners advance to second and third, and the Giants have a 2-1 lead. A-Ray Adrianza taking one the other way to drive in Nunez to put San Francisco in front.
Giants have really shown they can hit the ball to the opposite field the first 2 games of this series with runners in scoring position. This is another ball hit to the opposite field that drives in a run here. And everybody doing everything right. Just giving yourself up, advancing on the throw, hoping to draw a cutoff. And you know the first baseman's not going to cut it off because that is too late in the game, and it's the go-ahead run. Now you got a base hit away. Look at Pence, he's fired up. Now you're a base hit away from getting 2 more runs.
Now it's Span with second and third and 2 out. And the curveball bends in for a strike.
Well, a good throw by Bruce here, but Nunez runs too well. He can fly. 30 stolen bases. You're going to have a hard time throwing him out.
Span is already 2 for 3 tonight. And the curveball in for a strike. He's had him bailed out twice. And both have broken over. Will Walcott, the rookie home plate umpire, called them both strikes.
Did they charge an error on the throw?
No.
Okay, I was going to say.
Second on the throw.
Okay.
Panic at third, Adrianza at second. So Blevins got ahead of Span, his former Nationals teammate, with a couple of curveballs. He goes away with the fastball, 1-2. So Lugo is now on the hook in this game.
Yes, he is.
Quite unfairly. He's been charged with 2 runs. He's responsible for 1 more. Mets have had plenty of offense on this road trip. Will need some to rally in the last 2 innings. 1-2 coming. And Span takes it low, 2-2. So Johnny Cueto now in position to get his first win since the All-Star break. If the Giants bullpen can hold up. Two to Span. And the curveball dribbled foul.
Span having a real hard time zeroing in on Blevins. Big sweeping hook.
Span had a base hit against Blevins last night. Josh Smoker just called up today, is up in the Mets bullpen. He took Josh Edger's spot in the bullpen up alongside Eric Goodell. Smoker has not yet pitched in a big league game. Was called up earlier this year, but never got in. Again, the 2-2. Hit late through the hole, base hit. Panic is in. Adrianza stops at third. An RBI hit for Denard Span, his second RBI of the night, and it's 3-1 San Francisco.
Another opposite field hit, Gary. This is a ball club here. You see the defense set up. He's looked bad on the breaking ball, going to the opposite field. So the Giants look like their bats are coming around, Gary.
Excellent charge in left field by Cespedes to keep Adrianza at third. Much more effective than Bruce, who didn't charge well at all on the base hit to right in the previous at bat. So now first and third with 2 out. The book is closed on Lugo, and it looks a lot uglier than it looked in person. Ends up being charged with 3 runs and 7 hits over 6 2/3.
Yes, that's unfortunate.
Now Pagan. He grounds one down to third. Reyes on the short hop. And he'll go first to get the out that retires the side. But the Giants put together a 2-run 7th, all after 2 out and nobody on. And lead 3-1 going to the 8th. Kevin Kernan here, his thoughts on Terry Collins and if the return of Yoenis Cespedes can save the season on the latest Mets blog Q&A cast presented by Citi, part of the SNY.TV blog network. Here's your StubHub Mets box score. Curtis Granderson homered in the second inning, gave the Mets a 1-0 lead, but that's their only run tonight. Jose Reyes 3 for 3. Mets have 8 hits, but only the 1 run, and now Hunter Strickland comes on in relief of Johnny Cueto.
Well, he's having himself a splendid year. Look at those numbers. No walks.
Hard throwing right-hander comes in. Alejandro De Aza pinch hits to greet him and takes a slider for a strike. De Aza had 1 at bat last night and grounded out. It'll be De Aza, then Reyes and Johnson. So 3 left-handed bats against Strickland after Johnny Cueto went 7, allowed a run on 8 hits, no walks, 2 strikeouts. He's in line for his 14th win. De Aza fouls back the fastball, and it's 0-2. It's funny how it works, right? The Mets, 25 runs in the first 4 games of this road trip. Had not pitched well, lost 3 of 4. They finally get a well-pitched game, and they've generated just 1 run tonight. And so it goes.
Very Kurt Vonnegut of you there, right there.
Or Lindell would be. Up and down 1-2. Strickland taking an eternity to get his sign from Posey. He misses low and away with the fastball. 2-2.
Well, there she is again. Is it a she?
Is it officially a full moon tonight? Because last night they told us it was not officially a full moon.
Giant. It doesn't look full to me.
It's full enough. I mean, why quibble? It's a lot of moon. I mean, if somebody presented you with that moon, would you say, "No, I can't take it. It's not full"?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking 12:26 in the morning talk. Well, you know, it's not that cold.
Oh my goodness.
It's a little chilly in San Francisco in the summertime.
The Great White North.
I think they're ready for some bear hunting. 2-2 coming, and De Aza pulls one down at first, and Belt handles it. One out. Let's check in with the studio. Larry Ridley has another game break brought to you by the New York State Smokers Quit Line. What that means is that if the Mets don't rally and win this game, they would fall 5.5 behind St. Louis for that second wild card spot. It's trying to keep hope alive as they bat here in the 8th against Hunter Strickland. Jose Reyes is 3 for 3, 2 singles and double tonight. And he fouls off the first pitch fastball. Javier Lopez is up in the Giants bullpen with left-hand hitters coming up. Johnson and Bruce behind Reyes.
And the Giants, with a victory, with the Dodger loss, will retake possession of first place in the National League West.
Giants led for more than 3 months, fell behind a few days ago, fell a game and a half back, and a chance to take it right back. And Strickland quickly ahead 0-2. Finally, the third game of this series tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock start, 3:30 our coverage on SNY. Bartolo Colon gets a start tomorrow night against Matt Moore, the lefty whom the Giants acquired from the Rays at the trading deadline. One 2 to Jose. Kelly Johnson waits on deck. One 2 coming to Reyes. The backdoor slider misses. 2-2. Jose with 3 for 3 tonight has his average up to 271. He's been swinging the bat very well on this road trip. He's now hit in 6 straight games. Trying to get something started here in the 8th. And he hooks one foul.
He barely got a piece of that one. Well, I shouldn't say barely got a piece, but really had to alter his swing to stay in that at bat.
One thing Jose has reminded us of is that he can hit pitches out of the strike zone when he's going well.
Yes.
Always been the case for Jose. Sometimes though he gets a little too wild with his swing, goes into slumps. He lines that one towards short, under the glove of Crawford and into left center. Boy, you don't see that very often. Brandon Crawford so sure-handed at shortstop. That'll be a base hit for Reyes, his 4th hit of the night, but a play that Crawford usually makes in his sleep.
I'll be interested to see if Bochy sticks with Strickland. I know he's been a very good pitcher, but now you've got Kelly Johnson with pop, and you've got Bruce with pop, and a home run ties this ball game. He's going to stick with his right-hander. Okay.
You got a power right-hander on the mound in Strickland. Big night for Jose Reyes, 4 for 4. And now Kelly Johnson will try and make something of it. Kelly's 1 for 3 tonight. He had the base hit in the 5th inning that resulted in the base running snafu with Lugo getting tagged out. That was in the 5th. He goes after the first pitch fastball, 0-1.
It's a big hard thrower right here. Big, tall, strong kid, Strickland. I like his stuff.
Second full season in the major leagues. Burst on the scene in the postseason 2 years ago. Had his troubles in the postseason. That's grounded down to first. Belt, a fair ball, goes to second, and he hits Reyes with the throw, and everybody's safe. Reyes got drilled. We'll see if he's okay. The trainer's going to come out and have a look. But Belt, trying to cut down the lead runner aggressively, nails Reyes with the toss.
It's the right play, Garrett. If you make the throw, execute the throw. You got to throw inside the line. Now you could probably say, okay, you want to play safety first. You got a fast Reyes out there. He makes the proper throw. He's got him.
You know the only problem I have with that? That's not the tying run, right?
Agreed.
I mean, you got a 2-run lead if you're the Giants, and I would think that, especially with Reyes' speed, that's a really risky play.
Excuse me. You've got a good fielder in Belt. If he executes the throw, he's got it. Now, you probably, in a play like that, you would do safety first. But I like aggressive players.
So the Mets have the tying runs on base with Jay Bruce coming up. They'll bring in the lefty to face him. We'll be right back to San Francisco.
Okay.
Javier Lopez came in to get one left-hand hitter out last night. He'll do the same tonight.
A big out.
Brought in to face Jay Bruce with the tying runs on base in the 8th inning. And Bruce takes the breaking ball outside for ball 1.
Bruce has not fared well against Javi Lopez over his career.
2 for 17 against him. Reyes is okay after being hit in the shoulder by Belt's throw. No error on that play, by the way, just a fielder's choice all the way. Johnson at first, the tying run with 1 out. And Bruce goes after the off-speed pitch, and it's 1-1. You see the lefty-righty splits for Bruce.
Giants defense. Shortstop Crawford way up the middle behind Reyes. Big gap between third and short.
Bruce is 0 for 3 tonight. Struck out his last time up. And he reaches for it and grounds it down to Belt. That's a foul ball. That's 1-2. Giants get Sergio Romo up in the bullpen with Cespedes due up next. This will be a 1-batter affair for Lopez. They'll bring in the right-hander to face Cespedes. Bruce Bochy, the master of the lefty-righty matchups.
He does make a lot of moves. He's got 9 guys in that bullpen, folks. We mentioned that last night. And if you got 9 guys in the pen, you're going to use them.
Well, he used 6 of them last night. It's got a couple of men aboard against Strickland. Now Bruce facing Lopez, down in the count 1-2. And he rolls another one down to first foul. Tom Goodwin makes the play.
Do they have 8 now? Because they brought up Adrianza. So they probably have 8?
He was already here.
He was already here, okay.
They have nine relievers because they only have 4 starters right now on a 4-man
That's
bench.
right. That's right.
They don't need a 5th starter till the first week in September because of their schedule. Matt Cain went on the disabled list. Reyes at second, Johnson at first with 1 out. Bruce waiting on a 1-2 pitch. And he grounds it down to Belt. To second for 1. Crawford the return. In time for the double play. Side retired. The Giants turn a 3-6-1 double play. And that gets them through the top of the 8th, up 3-1. Lead.
Lopez has made a career against left-handers. Side armor, you see the sidearm delivery right there. That is 9 o'clock. Watch the ball. And now look at the hand behind the back, behind Bruce. And that is like John Candelaria was like that. I've been there, done that. It's not fun.
Now Josh Smoker comes in to make his major league debut, just called up today.
Big hard thrower, a little bit on the wild side, 27 years old.
Comes in to face Brandon Belt, who takes a fastball for a strike. Jay Bruce has really struggled, and it's starting to get to him.
Oh, this game can drive you nuts.
Smoker throws one by Belton, and it's 0-2. Josh Smoker at one time was a #1 draft pick by the Washington Nationals, but he had arm issues. He wound up in independent ball 2 years ago. The Mets signed him from there. Now making his big league debut.
How about that? There you go.
Belt loses his helmet trying to get out of the way of that fastball.
Well, that'll shake you up a little bit. There's your hello. It's your wake-up call. 9 o'clock in the morning. Actually, 9:45.
He grounds one through the shift. Johnson is not going to have a play, and Belt has an infield hit. So Belt has his second hit of the night after being dusted off. He winds up on first base.
Well, not intimidated. He hung in there on this left-hander after the brush back a little. And there's the shift that didn't work.
So the Giants get the leadoff man on in the bottom of the 8th, and now Buster Posey, who busted up the game last night in the 8th inning with a 2-run double, comes to bat against the left-hander. Buster's 0 for 3 tonight. And he takes a fastball outside. Smoker worked in 52 games in Vegas this year. He was able to keep his walk count down. That's important for him. Falls behind Posey 2-0. Just 18 walks in 57 innings to go with 81 strikeouts. Eric Goodell, Jerry's Familia both get up. Grounded toward the hole. Cabrera with a great stop, and they get the out at second. Welcome back as Dribble Cabrera. He's been making plays like that all year long. First game back from the DL, and he takes a base hit away from Posey.
You said it, Gary. He has been steady at shortstop. Beautiful diving backhand.
And he's got a great sense of timing. He knew just how much time he had.
Well, he got rid of that ball as fast as he could right there. He knew he had no time. He had to get it and throw it. Fine play.
So now Posey, the runner at first with 1 out, and Brandon Crawford, the batter. Another left-hand hitter for Smoker to face. Crawford's 0 for 3 tonight after a 3-hit game last night. Josh Smoker from Calhoun, Georgia, making his big league debut tonight. Line toward the middle, base hit for Crawford. Posey pulls in at second, and the Giants have 2 men on. And Hunter Pence coming up.
Fastball too much middle. Here comes Terry's got to come out and bring in the right-hander.
Coming up tonight, Geico Sports Night. After the post game, we'll have all the baseball news. Jets playing their second preseason game and all the Olympic coverage as well. Geico Sports Night tonight after the post game. Well, Terry's going to make a double switch, and it looks like he's going to bring Familia into the game. Familia hasn't had much work the last few days, so Jay Reese will come in here in the bottom of the 8th. 3-1 San Francisco. We'll be right back. Get all the latest news and reaction from tonight's Jets-Redskins preseason game in D.C. on the JetsBlog.com, part of the SNY.TV blog network. Wilmer Flores comes into play second base. He'll bat ninth. Jerry's Familia goes in the 2-hole. Jay Reese has not pitched since Tuesday night when he earned his 40th save of the year in Arizona. So he comes in here with 2 out and 2 on, with 1 out and 2 on to try and keep the Mets in the game. Hunter Pence, the batter. And Pence takes a fastball for a strike. Pence at a pop fly double in the 5th inning, 1 for 3 on the night. Josh Smoker faced 3 batters, gave up 2 hits.
He didn't like that call, did he?
Posey at second, Crawford at first with 1 out. And Pence takes another strike. And didn't like that one even less. Quinn Walcott, the rookie home plate umpire, responds.
Puts him 0-2 on a couple borderline knees and outside corner here. Don't want to be 0-2 against Familia.
Pence has done well against Familia in the past. 3 hits and 4 career at bats. But down in the count here. And it's grounded toward the hole, a base hit. Posey to third. He'll be held up there. And the Giants have the bases loaded. On an 0-2 pitch, Pence takes one the other way, and he's now 4 for 5 against Familia.
Pitch to waste, 0-2, and it's a fastball up. Up, look at that. Straight, belt high outside corner. Not a preferred pitch. 0-2. Not a preferred pitch anytime from Familia. You want that ball sinking.
So now Eduardo Nunez with a chance to add to the Giants' lead. Bases loaded, 1 out. Nunez hit a long double off the fence in left center and scored the go-ahead run in the 7th. 1 for 3 tonight after a 4 for 4 game last night. Posey now at third. Crawford at second, and Pence at first with 1 out. And now with the infield at double play depth, Nunez at the plate. Tough man to double up. And he takes up and in. Ball
1. Corners in for the Mets. Back for 2 up the middle. Pretty much straight away defense.
to Nunez. He checks the swing, but he went around. 1-1. Giants had 17 hits last night. They have 12 more tonight. I know they've been struggling lately, but this resembles the Giants who won those 3 World Series. A team that doesn't strike out much, puts the ball in play, goes to the opposite field and with runners in scoring position. It's the way they won 3 championships, and they've looked like that in this series. One coming, and that's off the corner. 2-1. Of course, the other piece to that is that the Giants, in all 3 of those seasons, had dominant pitching. They're not quite as dominant with their pitching this year. And especially their bullpen has struggled lately. Last night, though, after the Mets got within 1 run, their bullpen solidified at the end of the game and held up. Two and 1 to Nunez, and he's fouls the play. 2-2. Joe Panik standing on deck.
Got to put the ball in play here. It's a big run out there. Bases loaded. Sac fly brings in another run, a 3-run lead. Base hit really busts the game open.
2-2 from Familia, and he grounds one down to third, a foul ball. And that's what Familia wants. He wants a ground ball at an infielder. And that's where he specializes with that sinker.
You're
right-hander hitter with a 2-strike count here facing a sinker ball pitcher. How do you go about avoiding the ground ball?
Well, it's righty-righty or lefty-lefty, Gary. You just got to bear down. You really got to bear down. It's not an easy mark. It's hard to lift a hard sinker down and in on your hands.
Again, the 2-2. Slider fouled off.
Good slider. He got a piece of it. Seeing some professional at-bats here in this giant lineup.
Well, the Giants have struck out fewer times than any team in the National League. And that's held up so far tonight. They've struck out only 3 times. Seventh pitch of the at-bat from Familia to Nunez with the bases loaded and 1 out. And that's picked on a hop by Rivera. I'm not sure how he did that.
Wow.
On a spiked sinker, somehow Rivera picked this out of the dirt.
He had no chance to get his body in front. Wow.
That saved a run for the moment. But it runs the count full to Nunez.
Dicey pitch. Got to run this sinker up there. You can't want to walk in a run.
All the way to the fastball.
And that pitch got up.
Pitch number 9 upcoming to Nunez. Ground ball past Familia. Flores with the flip, and no chance for the double play, and a run comes home. And it's 4-1 San Francisco. Nunez puts it in play and hit it slowly enough to get the run in.
Well, it got by the glove of Familia. Familia is probably, of all the Mets pitchers, the worst, I don't want to say the worst fielder. It was a tough chance there, but he is not adept with his glove here. Ball not hit that hard. Just out of his reach. If he gets that ball, he can go home to first. He's mad at himself for not getting there.
That run charge to Josh Smoker. So it's now 4-1 San Francisco as the Giants with 2 in the 7th. They had 1 here in the 8th. And now with 1st and 3rd and 2 out, Joe Panik the batter. Panik has singled, reached on an error, and been intentionally walked. Crawford now at 3rd, Nunez at 1st with 2 down. Fastball outside. The Giants keeping 2 men busy in their bullpen. They've got their closer Santiago Casilla up if it's still a save situation, and they get George Cantos next to him in case it's not. Gillespie is on deck. He'll pinch hit if Panik keeps the inning going. There goes Nunez. The throw by Rivera, not in time. Nunez steals his 2nd base of the series, his 31st of the year.
Well, he can run. That's a nice pickup for the Giants.
He was an all-star this year with the Twins. Don't give those out for nothing.
Well, you know, they made that trade for Matt Moore with Tampa Bay, and they gave up
Matt Duffy,
the 3rd baseman, and they needed to get a replacement.
Might have gotten a better player, at least a better hitter. Duffy's probably the better glove. Now 2nd and 3rd for Panik, and Familia spikes another sinker, and it's 2-1. Base hit here, and the Giants blow the doors off this game. Crawford at 3rd, Nunez at 2nd with 2 out. And Paddock lifts one foul down the left side and out of play. I think the folks in Hopewell Junction are up late watching Joe Paddock, hometown kid.
Yes.
2-2 coming, and again he fouls it off. I know you're very interested in late night audience retention.
Yes. Ratings. Who's watching?
Again, the 2-2, and Paddock grounds one to short. And Cabrera makes the play. A low throw, and it skips by Loney, and 2 runs score. Paddock heads to second, and the Giants get 2 gift runs and lead 6-1. A routine ground ball as Dribble Cabrera, who has been as solid on the routine plays as anybody could ever be, bounced the throw, and Loney couldn't dig it out.
It is routine. Nice up hop. And a tough pick for Loney. Loney usually very good at that, and Cabrera realizes that at air is mighty costly.
So it's a 3-run 8th inning. Familia will be taken out with this game having gotten away. No use burning him for another day. 6-1 San Francisco. We'll be right back. Eric Adell in. Connor Gillespie pinch hitting. 3 runs home in the 8th inning. 6-1 Giants, and Gillespie fouls one off.
Well, this has not been a pretty game as you look at the Jeep numbers for Eric Adell, who's been kind of struggling of late. His last few outings, he's had some difficulty with command.
Been working a lot lately. His last outing, he couldn't get an out. The final game in Arizona, faced 4 batters, didn't retire anybody. Gave up 2 hits and 2 walks, couple of runs. Gillespie bats with Paddock at second as Goodell bounces a splitter, a ball and a strike. The inning began with an infield hit off the bat of Brandon Belt. Posey hit into a fielder's choice. And then Brandon Crawford had a base hit. All that was against Josh Smoker. Familia came in, and with an 0-2 count, Pence singled through the right side to load the bases. Nunez beat out a double play grounder to get 1 run in, and then after a stolen base, the throwing error by Cabrera brought in 2 more. Curveball popped up. Rivera gives a look, but that's in the crowd, and it's 1-2. This night, for most of the evening, was a feel-good story for Seth Lugo. He made his first big league start and surprisingly was able to pitch into the 7th inning. But Lugo, unless the Mets rally in the 9th, will end up on the short end of this game. Mets still have 40 more games to go after tonight. But things are slipping quickly. To Gillespie, and he fouls it back. With the Giants having both a 5-run lead, Santiago Casilla, the closer, has sat down, and George Contos will pitch the 9th inning for the Giants. Again, the 1-2, and the curveball drilled to deep right field, headed back toward the wall and out of here. A hanging curve from Eric Goodell, and Connor Gillespie loses it. It's a 5-run bottom of the 8th inning for the Giants, and they lead 8-1. 5th home run of the year for Gillespie, his 2nd as a pinch hitter. And that puts the icing on the Giants' cake.
Hanging breaking ball, and the ball will carry down the lines. 5th home run for Gillespie. Second as a pinch hitter.
So the runs just keep coming against the Mets on this road trip. The Mets, who this season have relied on strong pitching, have seen 46 runs scored against them in 5 games on this trip. Bernard Span pops one foul when it's 1-1. For Gillespie, his 5th career pinch hit home run. Jerry's Familia charged with 2 unearned runs. The inning prolonged by Cabrera's error. The run against Goodell will be earned against the pitcher, unearned against the team, because the subsequent relief pitcher can't benefit from the error made before he came in the game. If that makes any sense.
It does. We don't have to go into detail.
We could. It might distract from other things. And now it's 3-1, and Goodell, who looked so promising a couple of weeks ago, has fallen into a really bad rut. I don't know if it's overwork or he's just hit a dry spell, but his performance has taken a major turn downward. Span's already got 3 hits tonight and driven in 2 runs. And a letter high strike, 3-2.
So 6 for 8 in the series so far. 2 3 for 4 is working for him. Span, that is.
Three-two coming, and he lines one into right field, and he's got a 4-hit night.
Goodell is up with everything. Bell tie, as you can see right there. Out over the plate. belt high.
Well, the last 6 hitters Goodell has faced in his last 2 outings, he's given up 4 hits and 2 walks.
9th batter to hit this inning for the Giants. Now, granted, this inning should have been over a long time ago.
Angel Pagan 1 for 4 tonight, extended his hitting streak to 17 games when he had a base hit in the 6th. Brandon Belt, who began this inning with an infield hit after being knocked down by Josh Smoker, is now on deck. Smoker made his major league debut at the start of this inning. It was a 3-1 game. Gave up 2 hits and winds up being charged with 2 runs, 1 earned in his 3rd of an inning. Familia brought in to try and stabilize things when it was still 3-1, but he goes a 3rd of an inning, gives up a hit and 2 unearned runs. And now Goodell is throwing gasoline on him, and it bounces into Pagan, 2-1.
His split finger, that is Goodell's, has disappeared. He cannot. He's been spiking it too much. He's lost command of it, and that's a big out pitch for him.
Grounded toward the hole, another base hit. Pagan has his 2nd hit of the night. Span will go 1st to 3rd. And right now, Eric Goodell just can't get out of his own way. That is 7 straight hitters who've reached base against him over his last 2 outings. 5 hits and 2 walks. And nobody up in the Mets bullpen, so he's going to have to wear this here in the bottom of the 8th.
Yes, he is. What did Ronnie say the one time that Davey Johnson came out and said, you know what? I've got no one out there in that bullpen. You're going to have to find a way out of this inning.
Well, things just going from bad to worse for the Mets on this road trip. Losing 2 out of 3 in San Francisco. Jacob deGrom giving up a 4-run lead last night. Tonight the Mets wasting a wonderful start from Seth Lugo in his first big league starting assignment. Tie game going to the bottom of the 7th, and this game has gotten away in a hurry. 2 in the 7th and 5 in the 8th for the Giants, and Goodell just trying to put the inning to bed as Brandon Belt, who started the inning, will come up again. Belt is 2 for 4 tonight, a triple and an infield hit, 1st and 3rd and 2 out. Fouls it off. It's a better splitter by Goodell, and it's 0-2. The Mets 1 run and 9 hits. The Giants 8 runs and 15 hits. The Giants coming into this series had been struggling. They had gone 9 and 21 since the break. They were averaging 3.5 runs per game. On the 2 games in this series, the Giants have scored 18 runs on 32 hits. Belt just got a piece of that splitter to stay alive. So the San Francisco Bats have woken up in this series.
Yes, they have.
And at the end of the night, unless the Mets have a 9th inning rally, the Giants will be back in 1st place in the NL West. Again, the 0-2, and Belt takes it high. 1-2 coming, and Belt strikes out to end the inning. So Goodell finally puts the 8th inning to bed, but the Giants break it open with 5 runs. And we go to the 9th with the Mets down 8-1. All right, we'll look forward to that, Gary. Meanwhile, we go to the 9th with the Giants having broken this game open, leading at 8-1. George Contos will come on and try and get the final 3 outs.
Contos has been around for more than a few years here for the Giants, having a good season, 45 games.
Yoenis Cespedes 0 for 3 in his return to the lineup tonight. Grounded out twice and flied out. It'll be Cespedes, Loney, and Granderson for the Mets. Cespedes off the end of the bat to shallow center, and that falls in for a base hit. So Cespedes has his first hit since his return from the disabled list, and the Mets get the leadoff man on in the 9th. That is hit number 10 for New York tonight. Their only run came on a Curtis Granderson home run in the 2nd inning. They ran themselves out of a run in the 5th inning when they could have taken the lead. They got a couple of men on in the 8th. But a double play ended that threat. And then the Giants broke it open in the bottom of the 8th. Here's Loney, who's 1 for 3. And he takes below the knees from Contos.
30 hits in last night's ball game, 25 in tonight's game.
I think we were playing in a hitter's ballpark. Curveball bends in for a strike, 1-1. Well, Seth Lugo has nothing to be ashamed of. He pitched wonderfully tonight. Pushed a lot further than anybody expected he would go in 6 2/3. Got the first 2 outs in the 7th. But then he gave up a double to Nunez, and after an intentional walk, he was pulled. Both runners ended up scoring after Jerry Blevins and couldn't get through the inning unscathed. Giants took the lead and they haven't looked back. 1-2 to Loney, and it's off the plate. And you know, we don't know what's going to happen with Steven Matz. He's going to see the doctor in New York on Monday to see if there's anything substantive to the shoulder issue that he experienced while throwing on the side. But if Matz has to miss any more time, there's every reason to think that Lugo would get another start. Certainly deserves that after his performance tonight. Loney takes one the other way. Foul. Curtis Granderson waiting on deck. Well, a quick turnaround tomorrow afternoon. Bartolo Colon will be on the mound in game 3 of this series. Loney hits one up the middle, and he's got his 2nd hit of the night. So back-to-back base hits for Cespedes and Loney to start the 9th inning. And we'll see how long it takes Bruce Bochy to get his closer back up in the bullpen.
Well, 8-1, no reason to panic right now.
Not yet. You never know.
Mets are in danger of getting 2 games under 500.
Last time the Mets were 2 games under 500 was back early in April. Here's Granderson. Curtis responsible for the only Met run tonight with a home run back in the 2nd inning, his 20th home run of the year. 9th time in Curtis's career he's hit 20 or more home runs. And he takes a strike, 1-1. Granderson now has 283 home runs in his career, 2 of them into McCovey Cove. Slow ground ball. Contos off the mound. Puts the tag on Granderson for the first out as the runners advance to 2nd and 3rd. So one unassisted on the putout, one out in the top of the ninth. And now Asdrubal Cabrera. Cabrera 1 for 3 at the plate, robbed of a hit his last time up by Hunter Pence going to the gap in right center. But Cabrera's throwing error opened the door for 4 extra runs for the Giants in the bottom of the 8th inning, and helped put this game away. How about this? 5 games on this road trip. Mets have given up 46 runs in the 5 games. The opposition, the Diamondbacks and the Giants, are hitting .377 against Mets pitching on this road trip. Little tapper back to Contos. He's got the runner trapped. I don't know where Cespedes was going, but he's out. And that's the second out of the inning. Down by 7 runs, Cespedes gets trapped off third base. And that probably says it all about what's happened here tonight.
It has been a very, very ugly game played by the Metses. You're down 8 runs. You can't do this. You can't come down the line.
Nunez almost didn't tag him, and Cespedes didn't get back to the base. That was a comedy of errors right there. So 2 out. Runners at first and second, and Rene Rivera, the last hope for New York. And Rivera skies one to left center field. This should end it. And Pagan puts it away, and the Giants have taken the first 2 games of this series as they get 2 in the 7th and 5 in the 8th to negate a fine first big league start for Seth Lugo and wallop the Mets 8-1.
Well, this is a very ugly game the Mets played tonight. The Giants tried to help out on their own, the one ugly inning from both teams, but pretty much Cueto pitched a fine game. That's lost in all this mess tonight. Cueto got his first win in the second half of the season since the All-Star break. 7 strong innings, only gave up 1 run, the home run to Granderson. And as you said, Garrett, Seth Lugo pitched a really fine game. The numbers on the paper tomorrow will not be indicative of how well he threw. A very costly error in the bottom of the 8th by the sure-handed and sure-gloved Cabrera opened the floodgates, and the Mets now are 2 games under 500.
First time